All right, let's do it. All right, so the core of this game is in the units that you are buying up here. So every time a round starts, you're given a selection of units up here, and this is the drafting portion of the game. You can see my gold down here at the bottom. There's a couple of different things you're thinking about when you're buying units. The first is that when you buy 3 of the same unit, it combines into a more powerful version of that unit. The second thing you're thinking about when you're drafting units is the various synergies that these units have to offer. So you can see all of these units have different factions or jobs here. And if you collect or put various combinations of these things into play, they get different bonuses. There is a bot in this game because we didn't have a 7th person that was interested in playing Watercat. I didn't want to wait anymore. So one of the things, this genre is referred to as the auto battler genre, because you can see here after I bought this guy and put him into play, I didn't have to do anything with the units he was fighting. So you kind of just buy your stuff and you position the guys on your board, and then when the timer reaches 0 and the round starts, they fight automatically. So this is a pretty low dexterity requirement game, which is nice. I'm past the point of playing dexterity games. And I click on these different units, you can see the area highlights around them that shows their range. So Axe here is a melee unit, so he's going to run forward, whereas my Shadow Shaman is a unit that has a range, so he won't have to move too much to attack. So a lot like drafting in a card game, you want to kind of stay open in your strategy and draft the things that get passed to you. So one of the easiest ways to end up with a mediocre group of units is to force a specific strategy going in. And this genre of game really rewards you for being flexible, because you can sell units back for the same thing you bought them for. So you can see here, when I dropped this Bat Rider into play, that troll bonus lit up. And you can see here I have 2 trolls now, so both my trolls get plus 35 attack speed because I have 2 of them. This grid on the right side when we're between matches kind of highlights how close I am to various synergies, so it can help me identify which synergies I want to be able to work towards. You can see here again, don't have to do anything while these fight. The first 3 rounds in every game of Underlords, you play against the same computer-generated units, and at the end of each of those rounds, you get to pick an item that can power up your team. Then after the first 3 rounds, you start getting paired into... other actual human boards. So you can see here, we're playing with 6 other subscribers and then a bot. And each of them have their own selection of units that we're able to see that we'll be getting paired into. Just 12-year-old mouse survived CS Source and clicking through the teens just to play auto chess games on Twitch. Yup. You can see here, the game also kind of tells me, hey, you already have one of these, so you might want to buy another one here. Because if I collect 3, Tiny will get an upgrade and be less tiny. Tyler, thank you for the 2-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Now, there is some variance in this game in the terms of which of your units that you roll. So especially in the early game, winning these rounds will heavily be influenced by which units you're fortunate enough to roll. Much like Magic, though, your health total in this game is a resource. So losing a couple of fights early and taking a couple of points of damage really isn't that big of a deal. The only point of health that really matters is your absolute last one. And go ahead and buy a few of these Dorkos. each player, your player has a level. In this case, we are currently level 4, and your level dictates how many units you can have on the board at any given point. Every time you complete a round, you earn 1 point of XP, and you can also pay 5 gold to gain an additional 4 points of XP to level up faster. Hey, Reynaz, thanks for the Prime support. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting mine this month with that. So you can see here, we've lost the first 2 rounds because our initial unit rolls haven't been particularly strong. But again, losing those first couple of rounds isn't that big of a deal. Your health total's a resource. One of the things we can consider doing at this point is if we lose the round after this one, you actually start acquiring a bonus for losing multiple rounds in a row. You get a lose streak bonus. So I might want to start intentionally keeping my board weak in order to acquire that bonus. I'm going to sell back some of these extra units that I have because, again, they sell back for the same price I bought them. And the reason it's appealing to do this is because if you start a round with 10 gold, you collect interest on it at the end of the round. So I'll get 1 bonus gold because I started with 10. The key thing to playing any part of this game is just being flexible. Don't go into a game with this attitude that you need to force this specific unit. You want to leave yourself the flexibility to be able to play whatever you open. So we actually won that round, which probably means I want to do my best effort to try and win more rounds. Usually if I win, if I lose the first 3, I'll like intentionally try to start lose streaking. What's the strategy behind unit placement? Any downside to just putting them 4 wide instead of 2 by 2? Yeah, so there's a lot of depth that goes into unit placement. I'm not even sure that I understand all of it completely, but like some factions, for instance, the knight bonus gets higher if your knights are standing next to each other. So like when you're playing knights, you generally want to be positioning things so they're close to each other, if that makes sense. So like all of these knights, I want them to be close and next to each other. And I'm going to sell these units back so I can get that interest point I talked about earlier. Oh, I have an item to put on somebody. Your units that are closer to the front line will attract the opponent's units to attack them first. And also, you'll notice I put my units that are melee units closer to the front. Now, this is a combat we're probably going to lose, because if you can see here, my opponent has a bunch of 2-star units, which means they're more powerful than my 1-stars on average. We're going to kill a couple of them, though. Hey, Sergeant Fane, thanks for the 13 months. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, my opponent, I mentioned earlier that if you get a good start in this game, usually involves a good bit of variance. So my opponents had some pretty fortunate variants to hit that many 2-stars early. But again, as the game goes on, it kind of balances out what you're seeing. So you're going to see more pieces as the games go longer. So I bought a bunch of stuff there speculatively because we don't know what's going to come up in the next roll. Then we actually rolled double copies of a lot of these things. So I'm going to go ahead and sell back Lycan, and I'm going to sell back Tusk to get to that 10th point of money so I can get that interest this round. And then after the round starts, I'm going to go ahead and buy up some of these things so that way I can potentially collect up 3 copies of the same thing to get a 2-star unit. So while it's important to think about synergies while you're playing the game, it's also valuable to just get 2-star units, because the 2-star units, especially in the early to mid game, are a lot more powerful than the 1-star units. And again, because all of your 1-star things sell back for the same thing you bought them for, it rewards you to like buy a bunch of things speculatively, because where you ultimately end up at could be a different place than what you initially drafted. So like, for instance, right now I have a bunch of knight synergies on the board, but selling out of those knight synergies if I don't find 2 stars for these isn't really that big of a deal, because I'll get back the same investment I put in. So for instance, if I roll extra copies of these, I might want to pivot into some of them. It's a double Viper. I'm going to go ahead and sell out of these Venomancers, because I want to hit that 10 gold mark, so I hit that point of interest. And then after the round starts, you lock in your interest rate so I can buy these 2 Vipers. So I'm basically trading 2 3 costs of one style for 2 3 costs of another style. So my speculations of what I could potentially be going into are similar here, but I gained a point of interest by selling those 2 3 costs back. Yeah, Viper's good because he pairs with the Dragon Knight in that faction. This opponent is playing Assassin units, which kind of blink all around the board. So you can see they kind of pop in and pop out. The Assassins make it very difficult to really follow what's actually going on the board. Often tough to follow too closely. There's a lot of them going around. Yep, yeah, Viper possibly scales and DK later. Now, one of the downsides of keeping this many units speculatively is, like I said, you do collect interest based on the extra money you have here. So, for instance, if I sell 2 of these 3 cost things, I'll get a point of interest this round. And this is one of the things that I struggle to balance in the early game, because there's definitely merit to just like not holding these things and developing your economy. But there's also the upside of, if I roll 3rd copies of these things, I'll have these powerful 2-star units. We're all done with Magic for today, Doomfeast. We started with 2 different Modern Leagues. They'll be up on my YouTube channel later this evening. We're gonna play 2 or 3 games of Underlords, then I'm gonna sign off for the day. This is, so every 5 rounds is another creep round where you play against predefined enemies and then you get to pick an item. Forgot to level up for the creep round. Oh, you. I have a lot of knights. I don't have any savage units. Bridge of the Aggressor is pretty good. So I'm not 100% that I'm going to stay on knights. I'm going to grab the Bridge for now. And I didn't click on the Bridge soon enough, so it gave me a Mask of Madness. Well, that sucks. I guess Mask is good on Luna. So Mask silences a unit, which takes it away its ability to do its ultimate, but Luna doesn't have an ultimate. Yeah, Mask is a fine unit. That's 2 Witch Doctors. Witch Doctor's pretty good. So, I mentioned this game doesn't have a lot of APM-based things in it, actions per minute, but one of the things where how fast you can click does matter is you can shuffle units onto the board and kind of overstore here. Shaman over, yeah, Witch Doctor's probably better than that. So I'm going to store these extra 2 Vipers on the board, and then even though I'm over full here, I just have to sell back some of them or combine up before the next round starts. So I'm going to be a little bit pressed for time here. I don't really want to reroll at this point, so I think I am just going to sell out of these Vipers. There's no guarantee that I'm going to end up playing those in the long term. It's the second Omni Knight. We'll pick up the second Omni Knight after this round's good. Maybe I could sell out of the Shadow Shamans instead of that, though. I mean, I've already missed the interest point, so I'm not selling anything else at this point. Our team so far has not come together, but that's fine. We're still in the mid game. They don't really, so long as you have an idea of like what you want your team to look like by like round 20 or so, I think you end up in a fine spot a lot of the time. So still just trying to figure out exactly what direction we want to go in. If we roll one more Shadow Shaman, I'm happy to have that before. There's a Shadow Shaman upgrade and an Omni Knight upgrade. I can actually put Shadow Shaman into play here because I leveled up from just having the extra experience there, so. So that's fine. We're still technically lose streaking, but that's not that big of a deal. We're hoping to roll, we'd love to roll a Troll Warlord at this point. The third Viper is a little sad, you're not wrong. And we're actually lose streaking at this point, so if we lose this round, it's not that big of a deal. Perfect. The kind of danger zone in my mind for when I start worrying about what my health total's at is when I start to get like sub 40 or sub 50. Lena is better than Shaman or Witch. Well, the Shaman's a 2-star, so Lena's probably better than this. It gives me the human bonus too. So Shadow Fiend fights with Chaos Knight for the demon bonus. So I don't know that that's very good. Although I might not be in Knights long term. Let's grab the Shadow Fiend for now because we're not really committed to Knights at the moment. We could still pivot off of that depending on what we end up rolling. All right, there's a Witch Doctor and Lena, and then we might not be lose streaking anymore. There's another Luna too. So I dropped my tier 2, my second night bonus, but I picked up a couple of more 2-star units, which is good. The power level difference between 2-star units and 1-star units is huge. And you can see there, that's the assassin player that gave us a lot of trouble last time, but these unit upgrades were pretty critical in allowing us to get going. And now we have a composition that's like somewhat reasonable because we have 4 2-star units now. So I'm probably going to go ahead and just kind of let my economy generate, because the more gold that you have, the more interest that you generate. So you kind of snowball a little bit. So ideally you want to get up to 50 gold because that's where you start maxing your interest. You can see this little half-filled in one is telling me, Jeff, you have a knight on your bench, and if you put this knight into play, you'll finish out this bonus. Vino could be an okay spec. If I'm gonna play a second Shaman, I probably want it to be like a Disruptor or a Necro. This is another one of those creep rounds that happens every 5 rounds. Alchemist would be good too. Yep, that's another good one. Yeah, I probably don't want this Vino. It's free to pick up because I can just sell it back, but Vino is probably not in my final composition. This game is completely free, and it's not just free in the way Arena or Hearthstone are free and that it's free to install. It's that you are fully competitive in this game while giving Valve $0. There's no pay to compete aspect of it. It's on, and not only is it on Windows and Linux and OS X, but it's also on your mobile devices as well. I'm gonna grab Smuggler here. I don't think 15 is too late to grab Smuggler. It upgrades my future ones. There's that Disruptor I mentioned. Alright, I'm gonna grab the Disruptor and trade out the Chaos Knight, I think. Because I only have the 2 Knight bonus anyways. This genre of game appeals to card game players in a very big way, I feel like. In fact, I think it's very silly on Wizards of the Coast part that they don't consider this style of game a competitor. I think it's a pretty big mistake. I think games like this and Teamfight Tactics are probably one of the biggest threats to like Magic Arena's potential success. I mean, some people don't have time to play both, though. There's the Arc Warden. Arc Warden plus Crystal Maiden's pretty good, and it would round out my Shaman bonus here. So I could see Arc Warden being a pickup here. I'm not going to buy it just yet because I want to lock in my interest rate here. No, not at all, Engineer Jam. In fact, the MPL players have a non-compete clause in their contracts. One of them said that they can't stream competing games on Twitch. So if an MPL member is able to stream a game like this, that means Wizards does not view it as a competing game. Yeah, the Shaman bonus is kind of mediocre. I like a Nick Arc Warden for the memes, though, because he's really funny. Arc Warden creates a copy of himself. So if you can get Arc Warden with Crystal Maiden going, you can make lots of copies. Alright, so I don't know exactly what we're doing yet. Our team's getting kind of smushed. I probably want to work towards leveling again. I'm still only on level 6. So I think I'm going to go ahead and level here and drop Arc Warden in. Kind of need to start turning things around.
Let's not have a repeat of last.
One of the things that's worth noting here is net worth. You can't... So because the health total in this game is a resource similar to Magic, you can't really judge how far ahead or behind someone is based on their life total. So a couple of different measures for estimating who's lining up where in a given game of Underlords is you can look at who's win streaking or not and what the average net worth is for people's different lineups. So people with higher net worths are generally going to be better off as the game goes longer. That's another disruptor. That's really nice. Getting a 2-star on him would probably be pretty good. I think I'm going to pivot off this Chaos Knight idea. Yeah, I'm probably out on bats too, aren't I? Probably just not going... I'm probably not on Knights long term. Although I do need some kind of front line. This person looks like they're about to melt us. And this is the other thing, too, where, like, you can't just look at net worth either, because we talked about net worth being a potential measure, and Incendium's net worth is, like, half of ours, but he just smoked us inside of combat, right? Now, we talked about positioning a little bit here. Because a lot of my units are ranged, I might want to start pulling back to a corner to, try and make my opponent's stuff run at me while I shoot them with my ranged units. Now, I talked about needing a front line. Doom is a heck of a front line. I might just want him because he's an individually very powerful unit here. So this is a creep round, so we'll just let this happen and then we'll see what item we get. And I'm a little bit far behind at this point, but at the same time, I'm also in a position where I'm pretty close to upgrades on a few of my different units. So I can turn this around pretty quickly by just like hitting some upgrades on my units. Well, there's a Black King bar. Drop Doom in here. I probably want to start rolling for some upgrades here because I'm kind of low. Razor could be good. It's a second primordial, and I could maybe move into some mages here too. If I wanna pull off of these knights. Although I probably need some upgrades if I want to fully pull off of knights. Yeah, I could just pull Luna and drop the knight synergy. How many people are on mages? Just one other, it looks like. That could end up being reasonable. There's a Crystal Maiden too. Sometimes your decisions get made for you. Yeah, I'm gonna pull Omni out, I think. Yeah, Mass does go on Maiden. So we're off. We're thoroughly off of the night plan. Oh, that Disruptor was good. That Disruptor totally stopped their Kunkka. That was quite good for us. Oh, they're also memeing with the Arc Wardens. Oh, they've got a 2-star Arc Warden too. Yikes. Our Arc Warden with Crystal Maiden is kind of doing some work here though, huh? Oh, I should put the mana item on the... I should put the mana item on him. Wait, does the mana item work with this? No mana. Nope, that doesn't work. It does not work. Shh, does not work. So that's not the mana item I want. I want like a mana item that like gives him extra mana on attacking, basically. So I definitely want to start rolling for upgrades at this point. I want more Razors, more Arc Wardens, just like I want more 2-star units at this point. Yeah, we're at 34 life. We're going even lower now, so I definitely need to stem the bleeding. 1 or 2 more losses and we're gonna be out of the game. So I mentioned your life total is a resource, but we've got a lot of money at this point and we keep dying, so we want to spend this to try and upgrade the squad. Where is my stuff? Good lord. Second Doom. All right, L2 Doom. L2 Doom. Please carry. Need your strong back. Oh no, they're tiny through my Doom. He can't get out. They threw my Doom and he can't get out, chat. Oh no.
Okay. They're tougher than I thought.
Yeah, we're down to 13. Yikes. This was round 24, so this is a creep round that we have coming up next, right? Yeah, we might be dead. I have an okay amount of gold, and we're 1 upgrade away from these 3. So I get a creep round to farm some interest here. And I'm gonna sell this back, and then we're gonna be rolling for upgrades on any of these. That was like pretty exceptionally unfortunate. Like, their tiny hit my Doom perfect, which is a really powerful 2-star unit, and then it didn't get to do anything. So that was a little bit of bad variance. So second Razor, second Disruptor, second Arc Warden. These are all very powerful, higher cost units. So hitting any of those, turning that into a chicken's kind of funny. How'd the Vaynefer deck do? I think we went 3 and 2. The deck's really, we lost to Green Black Rock twice, which is a really bad matchup in general. So hard to be too upset with that outcome. Would love a Shaman passive here. Let's put a Scythe on the Arc Warden. That's a Tide Hunter, speaking of individually powerful units. There's a Disruptor upgrade. gonna give up my Warlock control bonus and just drop Tide in here, I think. Oh no, Tide just got anti-maged out of the game. That's not a good scene for us. And we might be dead here. We've had really bad variance on what's happened to our frontline units these games. These rounds. We're down 1. Well, there's an Arc Warden upgrade. We're pretty far away from a level. Giving Tide the Black King bar is probably a very good idea. Alright, and then we're dead if we lose this. God, we haven't been first out in a while. Alright, that was a good Tide. Maybe we hit the Razor upgrade and we had a decent Tide, so maybe we have a shot here. As Dusa is about to slaughter us. Oh, she got pigged! Oh no! Wow, we haven't been first out in a while. Yeah, our composition just really didn't come together there, and that happens on occasion. Like, we stayed open a little bit too long. Our items... 7th place! We didn't die first. Someone else died before we did. Not first out. The bot died half a second before us. God bless the little bot. At least you didn't die first. Not last place. Alright, I'm just gonna play a ranked match. We struggled to fill that one. So I'm just gonna go ahead and leave this party because a lot of people are still playing that we're playing, and we barely filled that one. So I'm just gonna go ahead and play a ranked match. We have a command for the League of Legends version of this game. The TLDR is that Riot's an awful company. So unless there's a super meaningful reason to play it, like, you're not gonna see me play it. Valve is definitely a garbage company. Valve doesn't have their employees walking out because of sexual harassment complaints and constant bro culture. So, like, say what you will about Valve from a software perspective, comparing them to the things that are going on at Riot is utter nonsense. I don't know what the XP and stuff like that does yet. They just added those in the last patch. They're still fleshing out those types of things. Yeah, Underlords is completely free on every platform. Windows, Linux, OS X, iOS, and Android. Embarrassment of Riches is my favorite round 1 pick. It gives us an extra item pick in every one of them. And the first 3 rounds are item pickup rounds, so we get to get 2 extra selections in the next 2, which is great. Plus all future ones, obviously, as well. No Druid and no Tusk up here for Savage. I'm gonna grab Tiny. He's been reasonable. Yeah, Android and iOS Farchild. This is definitely my mobile game of choice. We were just talking about that, J-Free TV. Teamfight Tactics is very similar to this, and Riot's an awful company. So, they won't be getting my money. And even companies both equal. Like, the fact that this is fully cross-platform is also a huge leg up. Like, I don't, like, even if the items, even if everything is exactly the same about the games, why would I not want to play the game that I can play on my cell phone too? This has become my go-to game of choice at the gym. Fall from Grace is pretty good. Summoning Stone's also good though too. There's that. There's that Savage unit to pair with this, which is nice. We'll grab Queen of Pain speculatively. Again, you pretty much just spend all your gold every early round because you can sell things back for the same things you bought them. So just like flexibility and staying open is important. How do I play this at the gym? I spend, I play it while I do cardio. Riding a bike, walking in the treadmill, doing the elliptical. Yes, yeah, the fact that you can start a game on your PC and then continue that game on your phone is fantastic. Blink Dagger's good in a variety of units. Chainmail's like a pretty good. I'm gonna grab the Blink Dagger. Blink Dagger's nice and cheeky. It gives you plus 50 mana, which is pretty powerful. Axe with Blink Dagger is actually really good because he taunts almost right away. Yeah, this version of Blink Dagger feels plenty powerful. Now, the problem with this composition as is right now, we don't really have any real damage dealers. And all my things are one-star units, so not surprised to lose this combat here. Again, the games where you start streaking really early tend to be a little bit high variance, because you need to get a little bit fortunate to get good units from the start. Or roll early upgrades or stuff like that. Early synergies. Forklift, thanks for the 15-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. There's a tiny upgrade, so we might not be doomed to lose streaking here. This summoning stone might end up not being used, which could be a tilt. But again, we don't know exactly where we're gonna end up at either, so. Nine Warrior is great. Who needs positioning? Give up the Great Wall. I don't think I've ever done Nine Warrior before. Have a good one. Have a good one, Shin. This is probably going to be my last game for the morning. I wasn't sure how long of a stream I was going to do. I was going to depend on viewer numbers. The numbers are kind of middling on Saturday morning when there's a lot of other stuff going on, so we'll probably just play this one and be done. That's double Lycan. Well, you know. That's another Druid. Could maybe go into Druids. Lycan gets to go my Summoning Stone. Lets me use the Summoning Stone item I picked up. If I go into Nature's Prophet and Enchantress, those utilize it too, which is sweet. Yeah, we might get another one here. Sweet. Queen of Pain does a lot of damage, but I might want to shift into this. Like, this plus Lycan gives me the Savage bonus. I could, like, pull this out and level up so I get the next unit in here. This gives me Savage bonus, Druid bonus, Warrior bonus. There's like a lot of synergies for this early in the game. Good chance we get to just like win streak from here. I think Tree Ent is worse than Nature's Prophet because I have the Summoning Stone. I think it's worse than Enchantress because I have the Savage bonus. So, the actual part of the game where what your opponents are doing really matters doesn't tend to happen until later in the game, Erler. And I agree with that perspective. If you're interested, if you're feeling, if you want to, it does, the game, this genre of game does feel like your other people are just computers for the most part. I agree with that assessment. Yeah, I don't think we didn't really have enough damage to push through there. Honestly, Sandlar might have been better than this axe. This axe at 1 star is pretty good. Well, I said I lack damage. Lena replace axe might actually be okay here. I'm gonna sell these and hit my interest point here and grab these two. This positioning was wrong because I put the blink dagger here. The blink on the Nature's Prophet was probably wrong, although it let him get 2 trees out really early. The question is can these with the Summoning Stone be enough to carry here? Maybe? Nope. We were close, though. I do have Summoning Stone with Vino. Yeah, I don't really have units that Blink is very good on at this point. I guess I could drop Blink on Lycan and pull these back a little bit. Hey, Ryland, happy Saturday. We're 1 upgrade away, or one tusk away from an upgrade there. We lost that round, though, so I'm not in a huge rush to, like, get more things on the board. I thought Venomancer was good before the upgrade, honestly. Morning, Niv. Happy Saturday. This person's playing a lot of Assassin, so it becomes hard to follow who exactly is winning inside of combat because their units are like blinking in and blinking out so much. It looks like we're doing it. It looks like we're doing it. Yeah, the balancing act between lose streaking enough that you're still getting your gold but not taking so much damage that it's impossible to turn in the late game is can be hard. It's a tough balance to strike at times, especially because how much you want to put on the board is determined by like who else does. So this is a creep round, so I don't want to buy anything. Just want to go ahead and let my guys do their thing. There's nothing up here I really want to buy anyways, right? How did Modern go this morning? It went alright. I'm not a huge fan of the Devoted Druid decks in general, and playing it today kind of reinforced that for me. I don't think that's an archetype I'm going to play again, Because it's kind of tedious to play on Magic Online, and like, it's not very powerful in my experience. I'm gonna go ahead and level here so I get slightly more powerful units next time. Can drop, oh. Do I have anyone? I don't really have anyone that Mask of Madness is very good on in this composition, huh? All these other items kind of suck, though. Yeah, just take Claymore. Claymore is also not particularly exciting. It's tiny. And again, like, kind of like last game where we lost early, I need to try and figure out what direction I want to take this composition in. So we can grab this extra Lena here, which might encourage me to move in that direction depending on what else we roll up. One of the things I don't think I've mentioned yet for the new players is that the unit pool in this game is shared. So you can kind of figure out what you want to be doing based on what other people are doing. So it doesn't look like anyone else is in mages yet. So like as we level, that might be an okay direction for me to go in. Lone Druid would be absurd because it works with our Summoning Stone as well. Yeah, Lone Druid would be powerful. A good upgrade for this because it's also Savage. Would love to find, like, all of these are one away from upgrades here. All right, and just like that, we might be able to turn around combat. How shared is it? How many people can have the same hero max? Is it possible that 2 people have the same max? Or it depends on what the cost of the hero is. So I believe for one cost unit, there's 35 heroes total in the shared pool to start. And then there's less of them for depending on what the initial cost of the unit is. So like there's fewer 2 stars, there's fewer for each star that goes down. Yes, when people lose their heroes go back in the pool, and when people sell their heroes go back in the pool. All right, and like I said, just like that, we hit 2 2-star upgrades, and suddenly our squad's no longer reasonable. No, there's 35 tusks in the pool. There's 35 tinies in the pool. There's less than 35 nature prophets because he costs 2. And the number of heroes is static based on the gold cost of the unit. And again, I wouldn't mind, usually you don't want to re-roll too early for more heroes, especially because we just hit 2 levels last turn. And I'm at 30 gold, so I want to hit that interest point. I agree with that, actually. It loses my warrior bonus, but Lycan's just such a higher powered unit, and it makes use of my summoning stone. Crystal Maiden could potentially be good if I end up in mages. Looks like we're dying. Didn't quite have enough damage output here. Alright, well we lost, but we didn't lose by a ton. You think the warrior bonus is really big? I don't know about that. I don't think our damage was I don't think our issue there was our thing. Does Arc Warden work with the summoning stone? Does his copies count as a summoned unit? Does that work that way? Summons, creates a copy. No, I'm pretty sure the verbiage there, my Magic player background from like the technically correct in me makes me think that it doesn't apply to these copies. Based on the wording, I would think that it doesn't apply. Yeah, we have a lot of 1-star units at this point. This has 600. We'll see what copies happen this time around. I'm gonna sell these tusks for interest and probably buy this Phenomancer. Hopefully the Arc Warden copies so we can click on him and see if it has 750 or not. Okay, yeah, it does have 750. All right, sure. Sure. Let's do it. Let's get a Crystal Maiden. I actually think the cooldown reducer on this guy's probably pretty good. And actually, let's put the Blink Dagger. Let's put the Blink Dagger on him, because that sounds funny. I probably want to get Kunkka into here, huh? I'm gonna level soon. Yeah, Kunkka's great. He gives me my last warrior. And we'll level after this round. Yeah, if we can fit a Crystal Maiden into our comp, Blink Dagger on Arc Warden plus Crystal Maiden ends up doing really well. You think I want to cut the Druids? I don't know, my Nature's Prophet is really good. And, like, it's good with my Summoning Stone, too. So, like, I get Kunkka in just by leveling up. And, like, my Crystal Maiden's only a 1-star here. If I keep bricking on the... Yeah, Refresher and Arc Warden is great. If I keep bricking on Lone Druid... If we don't have Lone Druid by round 21, we'll probably pivot off of Druids. But I think if we still have a chance to get Lone Druid and be reasonable here. Although that's a Venomancer upgrade. That's a 2-star Veno. Yeah, that's probably right. Veno over Tiny. That's probably right. God, we are just getting dumpstered again. I've come to the conclusion since hitting Big Boss that I'm very bad at this game. And I don't know if I care enough to study to become good at it. Also the idea of staying open, maybe that's just wrong and you're supposed to just be forcing specific things. Maybe that's also the case. Doom's a high-quality warrior.
I bring fire and fury.
feel like there's a chance I'm supposed to be re-rolling for upgrade sooner. I feel like that, like, the games that I lose, my 2-star units don't ever end up coming together. And, like, it feels like if they're just not coming together, maybe I'm supposed to be rolling more aggressively for them. That's true. This is much worse without a druid to power it up. You want to have full 2 stars by 20 at least. Yeah, and I'm like pretty far off of that, right? I don't know if I'm supposed to be re-rolling or not. And that's the tough part. And one of these games, like, these games have so much going on that it's just like next round's a creep round, right? So I think I just get beat up for one more round here and then like get my interest for 2 rounds. But then like, is it too late to recover from that point is the question. Because like I basically only have one more loss in me at this point, right? So like I know I'm gonna be leveling here in a second. Like that's definitely the plan. But then I level. All right, I level. What am I putting in? Yeah, so like, I know you can't take it with you, but like, what does that mean I'm supposed to be doing? I'm supposed to be leveling sooner to put more units in? Am I supposed to be... You think you're supposed to be more aggressive about love star units? That's fair. Just like having higher star units is more important, basically. So we're at 21, so we're spending a bunch of gold after this one. And I don't want to spend my gold right now because I want to level up before doing it. So that way I have a higher chance to roll the higher cost units. What if I get a second blink dagger? That's probably terrible. There was a lone druid I just missed because I was rolling, looking for things I already had. All right, I'm at 21, so we might be able to take one more loss here. Missing the lone druid is a pretty big mistake, though. Whoa, we just got slaughtered by a disruptor. All right, well, I mean, we lost by less than we had been losing by. All right, there's a Lycan upgrade. There's a Lone Druid. So, like, is Lone Druid better than that? And, like, getting this in here, too? And, like, how do I fit that in? Because, like, Razor really didn't do that much damage that last round. Keeper is better than Druid. Yeah, I guess Keeper is a mage, right? Yeah, we're just getting melted again. So I just like get out of the druids and just like roll for upgrades here? Probably. And we're dead. It's like rolled infinite copies of things we already had copies of, and it just ended up not mattering. I'm gonna be done for the day, folks. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I appreciate it. I'll catch all y'all around later. Have a good one.